And railway was a huge part of transportation back in 1913, and the floodwater turned deadly for some passengers. Meteorologist Tara Hastings shows us how one Miami Valley man is telling their story and keeping their memory alive.
Scott Trossel likes history and has put his passion on paper. He wanted to tell the story of the 1913 flood from the northern Miami Valley.
And that story had never been told up in this particular neighborhood, so I undertook the task of rooting out the records and bringing the story to life.
Flipping through pages in his book and through the Black Night of Terror, there are photos and personal stories Trossel found during his research. One story comes from the railway, which was a very important part of transportation 100 years ago. More than 250 railroad bridges were swept away from the floodwater. The work train at New Harrison in Darke County never made it to its final destination.
It washed 20 men into the river, into actually Greenville Creek, and 6 of those men drowned. And 5 of those 6 were recent immigrants from Gallese, Italy.
One of these men is still in Piqua today. Simon Serra rests at Forest Hill Cemetery. His headstone says he was only 30 years old when the flood took him.
Everybody else was buried in the Piqua Cemetery and exhumed and sent back to Italy. For whatever reason, this family never reclaimed his remains.
Farther south in Troy, the water became so high, people started taking refuge in their attics. After the water started to recede, there were signs showing how powerful raging water can really be.
They found drowning victims from Piqua down here onto the north side of Troy. And they looked for victims for 3 months afterwards.
About 65 people died from the floodwaters in the northern Miami Valley, and more than 5,000 were left homeless. Trossel wants to make sure these stories remain in the history books for future generations to read and see. I'm meteorologist Tara Hastings, 2 News.